Welcome to the Women's Empowerment Program. Tonight we are presenting Inspire, Innovate, Ignite, Conversations That Count. So we're going to ask you to get inspired by our expert panelists. They've been chosen for their expertise in this particular topic, and we are so excited to hear what they have to say, because who knows, it might just change your life. Each group of panelists is a very specially chosen group, and we're hoping that this conversation will ignite some deep conversations, not only amongst our guests, but amongst you and your loved ones, your family as well. So showing up live to one of our conversations is really the best way to take part, because you can ask questions in the chat. If, however, you're watching on the replay, we are thrilled that you're watching on the replay. Put your questions into the comments anyway, and chances are they will get answered. So our topic tonight is the differences between life balance and life harmony. The differences between life balance and life harmony. Most people confuse harmony with balance, and we strive for both as if they're the same thing. You ever noticed how you kind of blend the two together? And our greatest failure, and I'd hate to call it failure, our greatest challenge actually comes from underestimating how different they each are, and how you've got to have one before you can have the other. So more importantly, we don't recognize which we've got to have first. And what I'm hoping is that our panelists will bring their own personal experience into which they have to have first. Okay, so there's no right or wrong answer. It's whichever you have to have first. So please join. I'm going to introduce our panelists so you know who they are. I'll tell you all about myself at the end of this call. We have Allison Naish. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Allison Naish. And I'm going to read her bio because I can't remember it all. Allison is a relationship alignment coach and author who helps women access their own power to transform their lives. She's the founder of Create Extraordinary Relationships. Gifted with an incredible, powerful, and compassionate heart, she has the ability to get right to the heart of the matter. Her mission is to teach people what is truly possible in relationships, relationships can be so much easier than they imagine. For close to 2 decades, with her intense passion and visionary leadership, Allison has worked in both the personal and corporate coaching field. So she's got lots and lots of experience with clients ranging from single moms and couples and to managers and teams. She's a speaker, a CTI professional coach recognized by the International Coach Federation, as well as an Academy of Choice coach, whose process is based on the foundation of the legendary Dr. William Glasser's choice theory. Her own personal poignant story of transformation comes from heartbreak to triumph. It's featured in the book, Reconcilable Differences, Marriages and Families. Marriages and Families Don't. I'm not quite sure I said that correctly. Marriages and Families Don't. I'm going to get you to explain that later. Okay. Along with articles in the Globe and Mail, which is a Canadian newspaper. And Allison is a contributing writer to the new international best-selling book, The One Thing Every Mom Needs to Know. Whoa. Well, when I was a young mom, I would have needed to know that. Next, we have Heidi Henyon. Heidi's favorite thing is witnessing her clients heal, become their own best friend, and see the magnificence and beauty. Using what she learned from her own experiences healing from extreme childhood abuse and addiction, along with 40 years of study, Heidi creates a space where women can safely and quickly heal from trauma and abuse and thrive in life. She believes that when we heal, we stop the abusive patterns from being passed to the next generation. How true is that? She is an evolved NLP master practitioner, a miracle-minded coach, somatic practitioner, and she says a bunch. I love the way she says that. She has a bunch of additional certifications. That makes you so human. I love it, Heidi. She's an Amazon International bestselling author of 3 books and has collaborated in 2 more. Stop the Secrets, which is Thriving After Childhood Sexual Abuse, will release in spring of 2023. Now, this is the best part. At the present time, she's loving her community retreat center. She has a retreat center in Northern Virginia, and is spending time with clients one-on-one and running group workshops. She also enjoys cooking, hiking, being a grandma, and simply having fun. And next, we have Jenn Rosner. Jenn is the host of Conscious Law of Attraction Tribe here on sacred you. Jenn has spent most of her life afraid, living in the shadows, hiding and existing instead of living. She was constantly at war with herself, which created lots of mental chaos and exhaustion. These things put her on a journey of self-discovery and healing through therapy, energy work, belief clearing, self-improvement books, courses, and schooling. But through all of that, she still felt there was something fundamentally wrong. It wasn't until she found this work that she finally was able to let go of the idea that she was broken. She's not broken. Now her mission is to help others let go of the limitations, ideas, and beliefs that are holding them back from reaching their fullest potential and becoming the best versions of themselves. Jenn is an LMT, a certified magnetic mind coach, and she's well-versed in and uses the following modalities: Reiki, theta healing, subconscious belief clearing, chakra balancing, tarot intuition, and her passions include meditation, creating art, music, and laughing with her 4- and 6-year-old nephews. Finally, we have a new addition, Stuart Elliott. Stuart is recognized for helping people break free from the mental prisons of negative inner dialogue and self-sabotage that keep them drained of passion and dissatisfied with life. I think we need you a lot, Stuart. Using his powerful CPNH mindful hypnotic coaching system, he can help you blast away your prison walls too. So you're free to dream big and realize your dreams in the shortest possible time. I think this is the shortest bio I have ever read, Stuart. I'm sure you're going to tell us lots more about yourself in our conversation. So, wait a second. I do have something more for Stuart. It is a series that he offers. It's called Start Living Your Best Life by joining this series. So we're going to have a link for his series, I believe. Okay, so we are now done with that introduction. Okay, except I think I just lost something. So what we're talking about tonight is finding the balance between the life balance between harmony and balance itself. So I've got a couple of questions to start with, okay? And the first question is, I'm putting it out to everybody, and it's going to be the easiest question. How do you and you're going to define them one at a time. How do you define life balance? And how do you define life harmony? Is there a difference? So Stuart, would you mind if we started with you? So you're going to unmute yourself and you're going to, how do you personally define life balance? And how do you define life harmony? And you can bring a life experience into it as well, if you like, something that really stood out for you.
I mean, balance is an interesting word because if you think straight away off the top of your head, you're thinking of 50-50, and everything's equal. And to me, that's not necessarily correct if you want to apply it to a work-life situation. Some people, they're more geared towards family life or having life on their own. Other people are more geared to working. So you've got to find a way that suits you and have that balance that is suiting to you. When you got that, then you get equilibrium in my thinking. And everybody, one of the big problems with words is they're just labels for something. So everybody has their own energy and interpretation attached to the words. So you could say my life's out of balance, but what does that really mean? And that's where we've got to have these conversations and actually listen to where people are and find out what it means to them, not from my point of view, from their point of view. So then we can be on the same page and then we can start working. And I think once we start working and understanding each other, then we can start building that equilibrium, that harmony, that whatever you want to call it. So everything is working the way is best suited to you as a person.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is that when you start talking to somebody else, you need to find out where they are in their terms of reference for balance and harmony.
Yeah.
But where are you? Where are you, Stuart?
I'm working on, at the moment, balancing 2 young children and work and everything else. And what happens is sometimes the children take over as they need to do. But I've got to be open for that. I've got to be forgiving enough to myself and to whatever's happening to allow that to happen. Whereas, for instance, the other day I was on a call, it was about 1 o'clock in the morning for me. and one of my children just came down. And she was like a ghost. She just appeared next to me, and I went, oh, like this. What's going on? Now, I could have got upset and been angry with her for disturbing me on this call because it was a work call. But I just picked her up and then put her down on my lap, and she went back to sleep with a big smile on her face because she was happy to be with me and happy that she scared me. And the guy who was on the call with, he didn't see because of the virtual background. He just heard me scream. What's going on? But
You're being invaded.
That's being in harmony. That's allowing the things to happen and just let them be.
Right.
But some people would have reacted negatively in that situation because they would have felt embarrassed that someone's made a fool of himself.
Yeah.
And that to me is not a good thing. So it's how we perceive things that is important.
Okay. Thank you. That was a very, very, very valuable answer, Stuart. Much appreciation. Allison, you're up next. I'm going to ask it again. Okay. How do you define? I know it's so easy to get lost in everybody's answers. How do you define life balance? And after you've done that, how do you define life harmony? Are they one and the same? Or are they two different things?
Okie dokie. So I think they're different. And I'm with Stuart. When I think of balance, it's got that equalness to it, like 50-50. And I'm actually going to throw a whole wrench into the whole balance thing because I actually prefer alignment over balance because, and that's the realm that I work in. Alignment to me is when our kind of body, mind, heart, soul, and then our actions are all in alignment with, like, together. So I can't be thinking one thing and then, you know, taking an action completely opposite to what I'm thinking. Or if I have a limiting belief, but so if I want to be in a relationship or I want to go dating and I have a belief that men are hard to find, then that's just not alignment. That's misalignment. So to me, if we're in alignment, that can lead us to harmony. And that's kind of what I believe in. And the other thing I think about people, when people say they're trying to find balance, we don't find it, we create it. If we want to use the word balance, just like we create alignment, we don't find it, we create it. And I heard this from a shaman recently and I loved it. It's like, if we want to say though, how do we create more balance? I would say, let in the light, let in more light. And I love that when I heard that because, and that's to me alignment, it's the same thing. To get into alignment, we need to be on a vibration that's higher, than what we could be on if we're in our head worrying about things and being all misaligned. So I love that when I heard that. We just have to let in more light. So create more but high vibration. Like, does that make sense? Create a higher vibration, let in more light. That's what I heard when I heard that. That's what I think when I heard that.
And that's where you take alignment / balance.
Yeah, like I like the word alignment more than balance. I think balance is
I know.
An old word, right? But alignment is like everywhere now, and it's what I resonate with, right?
It is.
Yeah, and if we look at frequencies and resonance and harmony, that can also lead us to what harmony really is. It's about resonance with. Again, I'd have to look up the definition of that, but resonance, alignment. That's kind of what I think of when I think of harmony.
Okay. So you've taken us to a spiritual level. You've taken us out of the brain level and into the spiritual level, into the resonance and into the frequencies and all the rest of that. And it's wonderful because we have people from every walk of life who understand different words for different things. So that's also a form of creating harmony. So thank you, Allison. That was really good. Heidi, your turn. So the question is, how do you define life balance? How do you define life harmony? Are they one and the same, or are they two different things?
Well, I'm going to say ditto to Stuart and Allison. I love everything that they're saying and how they're bringing it together. So the unique sort of thing that I might bring out for me is things are almost never in balance. It's always shifting. So I would put alignment with harmony in that harmony is I can move with those shifts. I can be resilient as the world changes around me. And an example, if all of a sudden I hear, my daughter's having another baby, my life's going to completely shift. I'm going to try to figure out how to get from the East Coast to the West Coast to be with that baby and her, and that's an unexpected shift from outside. So balance is kind of, we're always looking at, what do I have to do today? What do I need to get done today? Is business more important today? Is my health more important today? I mean, I'll let you in on a little secret. I took a nap at 1, and then I took a really hot bath, and I took the afternoon off. I have a whole pile of things. However, to maintain my harmony and my resilience and all that, I needed a break. And I knew that because prior to this call, I had there's a lady that I'm mentoring in her own coaching business, and she needed my full attention. And if I had tried to stick with the original plan, I would not have been able to resiliently figure out how to be ready for that call, because I knew I needed to. That was a strong commitment for me. So I think in harmony is very much internal, and balance is the external, the internal, and all the stuff in between.
Okay. Thank you, Heidi. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that? I love that you brought in your day and explained how it worked for you in your day today. And I like how you connected both of them, because we do have to have them both in order for our lives to tick over every day and be really comfortable and not cause us any huge stress. There is going to be stress. There's always going to be stress, but your answer, Allison's answer, students, they all line up. They all create the picture for us all. Thank you. And we're going to move on now to Jenn. Jenn, the question is, how do you define life balance? How do you define life harmony? Are they the same or are they different?
So I pretty much agree with everyone else, that they're different. So for me, again, like everyone else said, balance, when you originally think about balance, you think 50-50, like the scales have to be balanced, right? But for me, when I think about balance, it's more about what am I creating? Where am I moving forward? And what needs to be done right then and there? And that's where I'm going to put my focus. So if maybe that's a masculine energy, like a moving forward energy more than a nurturing, then I'm going to lean more heavily into that energy as opposed to, doing the meditation. And then if I'm in a different day, I may need to do more meditation as opposed to going forward and taking like physical action. And so it's really about just being okay myself, with I'm okay with whatever action I need to take. This is what the next obvious action step is. And it's okay if it's a little bit heavier on this side today, as opposed to this side today. But overall, it ends up balancing out anyway, because, at the end, you're spending more time here today, but you're spending more time there tomorrow. So it balances out as a whole, right? So that's how I think about balance. But harmony for me is really, when I was thinking about this question, I've personally been working a lot with my part-time personalities and thinking about different ways that I show up in different situations. And so for harmony, for me, it's like the dance. In this situation, maybe the bitchy part-time personality needs to come out. And so I'm going to dance and let that person out. Whereas maybe the nurturing mother needs to come out in this situation, and allowing the different part-time personalities to come up depending on whatever situation I'm in and whatever, I'm trying to create, whatever is called for, but allowing those different part-time personalities to move and to shift and to be. And so they all work together to create my life, depending on whatever situation I'm in, depending on who I'm talking to, depending on, what I'm moving towards, what I'm creating. But they're all working together for my highest good, and the highest good of where I'm going. And so that's how I consider harmony versus balance.
Thank you. That was very concise. That was another brilliant answer that our audience can relate to. So thank you. If you'll indulge me briefly, I'd like to share a little story with you. Okay. So it's a story that I made up when I had to do a workshop on balance versus harmony. And it's how I opened it. So I'm going to just ask you to imagine a kid's teeter-totter. Okay, in a playground that you know really well. So take yourself to any playground that you know really, really well. Sit yourself on one end of that teeter-totter and notice how your weight pulls the seat down to the ground. You're sitting with bum on ground and your seat is red. You're feeling pretty powerful there. You're really excited because you know that when the other kid gets on the other end, you're going to have this up down thing and it's going to be so much fun, right? And you're going to be in control of part of it. So are they. So who's your playmate? Just think about it. Who's your playmate? As you're sitting there, no kid shows up, but life bundles, your little bundles of life float out of nowhere and land on that seat that's up in the air. It's a blue seat. And as more and more bundles float and land on top of themselves, on top of each other on that seat, your seat just begins to move up and up and up and up until at some point you've reached a balance where you're in balance with all of the things that are going on in your life and you're at an equilibrium. And that feels pretty good. You feel pretty safe. But then 2 more bundles float onto that pile on the blue seat. And now you're way up in the air. Your legs are dangling and you're no longer in control. So when we look at life balance, with each new bundle of things that land on your teeter-totter on the blue seat, you become less and less sure of yourself, less and less in control. So the question is, how do you manage those bundles? Is your priority to create harmony? And I'm going to explain harmony in just a second. Is your priority to create harmony, or is your priority to categorize, shift the bundles so that now you're back in equilibrium? You're not down at the bottom. You're not way up at the top. You're somewhere in the middle where you can negotiate that floating space. So that for me is balance. Okay. That for me is balance. Harmony is, now you're going to take yourself someplace completely different. I want you to visualize a Greek arena. Okay. And in this arena, there are a whole bunch of charioteers and chariots and wild, crazy horses, and they're all running around the arena. They're in a race, right? Now, you are a charioteer. You've got an amazing chariot. It's really strong. And you've got probably 8 or 9 horses that are on reins that you're in control of. Each horse is a part of your life. So one is career, one is family, one is health, one is finance, one is relationships, one is self-belief, one is, you name them, you've got them all, right? And you're holding these reins in your hand. Now, as the charioteer, you know your horses really well. And you recognize that you might have to ease up on one because it's getting tired and needs to rest a little bit. You might need to pull 2 together so they work better together. You might need to send one ahead because it's the leader. So harmony for me is how you manage all of those horses that are the pieces of your life. Harmony is for me very different from balance. Harmony is managing, being the manager of what's going on. And balance is managing the events that show up. That for me is as simple as I can make it. I'd like your opinion on what I just said. I think if it's okay, Stuart, could we start with you again?
Yeah, I think it's a good story, good analogy. I think what we have to recognize with harmony, that it does overlap with balance in the way you've described it, that we need to shift the things around to achieve the harmony which is relevant at that moment for us. Mm-hmm. Because life will throw things at us and certain things have to be prioritized. If we go back to children, for instance, if they have an incident, they have to be, that has to be taken care of and addressed, and whatever else you had as a priority has to come second. So we've got to keep that ability, that flexibility to shift things around, just as you say with the horses. One's getting tired, or we need to go in this direction. So the one on this side has to be a little bit stronger than the others, or weaker than the others, or vice versa. So we've got to have that, and we've got to also cater for whatever life throws at us, because we can't change that. We can only change how we react to whatever comes to us.
I like the way that you stated that. It makes perfect sense. It's logical. It's very grounded, and it's very real. So thank you very much for sharing that. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we move on?
No, I mean, I think the only thing I would like to add is that we all have our own version of harmony and balance, and
Yes.
we need to find it, because that will
Yeah.
help us move forward and do what we need to do in life. And sometimes people chase one or the other, but I think that they're always an interaction. There's always going to be an interaction between the two. We've got to find that, so we could find, then that word equilibrium comes in. We can find everything's working together and helping and assisting each other.
I think that's very true. I couldn't agree with you more. So basically what you're saying is sometimes you need to be in control of the horses and other times you need to be in control of the bundles.
Yeah, but we can't do one exclusively compared to the other. They've got
Exactly.
to be, they're tied at the reins, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Heidi,
Oh,
your
wow.
opinion.
My opinion, this is a great question. And I loved what you talked about, you know, the balance is handling the bundles and the harmony is managing the things that are thrown at you. And I think that's so critical, because that's where you get the resilience. And we have to, you know, because of the way life shifts on us, we need to be resilient. And to me, harmony really relates to that resilience. My
I love
ability,
it.
I know I love little ones.
Yeah,
I just,
yeah.
you know, my ability to stay centered, to stay focused, or when I get, excuse me, off center, knowing how to bring myself back in, knowing where to focus. And for me, that's where our body is such an amazing tool. My body will tell me when I'm out of harmony, when everything's not aligning, when it's not, you know, because on my teeter-totter, when we look at it, and that's the other thing that I was wanting to point out, and Stuart mentioned it, it is really according to what you can do, not what others expect you to do. You know, for example, I know we're not really supposed to talk about clients, but I'll have some that can handle a lot of bundles before their teeter-totter shifts. I'm one of those people that you can keep throwing a lot of bundles on. And I just have a lot of resilience because I have such a strong body and a way of tuning in and feeling when I'm out of alignment. And so I can handle a lot. Yet others around us, especially people we may be in relationship, our own children, our partner, whatever, they may not be able to handle as much as us, or they may be able to handle more. So I think part of that is, as the manager, the harmony part with the, you know, the hands on the rein, and I actually ride horses, so that's very apropos. I understand that when they're getting out of hand, sometimes you have to shift and maybe give somebody else the bundles or put some aside. And I think that's where the harmony comes in, or like the alignment Allison was talking about, is knowing when this is too much, it's not enough. When I don't have enough to do and I'm bored, that's a really bad situation. Boredom and I don't do well, and then I do get in trouble and create chaos. So I have to learn, and I've learned that in my own body. It's a feeling that I have, and it's like, oh, you don't have enough to do right now. You know, which
Honestly.
is different from I need to go meditate, because we do need that quiet time. We need those places to build our reserve. Yet I can handle a lot, and when I don't have a lot going on, it's just not pretty.
I know that feeling of when I don't have enough going on, I kind of run a little bit wild too and get myself in trouble.
Harmony doesn't mean we stop everything and we're just, you know, that quiet, okay, everything's fine place. It's how we're managing and balancing and playing with our life. That's the other thing I learned. A way that I stay very harmonious is I realize that life really is about playing with different things and learning different stuff and growing. And I might be playing with something and it's not working well, you know, like a potter that's first learning to build a pot on a wheel. First time I did that, it looked horrible. Now they're kind of okay. I'm not a good worker. Definitely not going to go into business selling, pottery that I make, but that's the point. But I'm learning, and I'm learning what can shift and what can change. And I think that's a big piece of what we need to do too.
I think that Stuart started us off with a very simple version that was so concise and so nicely aligned. And each one of these answers now is building on what Stuart started. So yes, I'm in complete alignment and agreement. Heidi, thank you. Allison, would you like to continue on with your version of how you're taking harmony and balance based on the teeter-totter and the charioteer?
Oh, sorry. You cut out there for a sec.
Oh, I just asked if you would, I'm looking for your opinion on like balance versus harmony based on the concept of the teeter-totter and the charioteer.
Yes, I like that. That was great. For me, it still all comes down to the realm of being, and rather than doing necessarily. And I love what Heidi was saying too, like the being able to be flexible and resilient is so important. So it's really for me about, taking care of ourselves is part of staying in alignment. If we're getting enough sleep and we're getting enough, all the things, that's important. If we're out of whack, we're out of alignment, and it's going to be harder to manage all of it, the teeter-totter, the horses, right? So for me, it's all really still about my energy and checking in through the day. That's what I tend to do. If I've been doing something for too long and I'm starting to feel a bit overwhelmed or a little bit kind of in my head, it's like, okay, it's kind of like, again, what Heidi said, maybe I need to go and have a nap. Maybe I need to go and have a bath. So I really take care of my energy. And then I have that power. I have that, I'm ready to kind of manage whatever I need to manage. So I'm not sure if that's answering your exact.
No, you are.
The thing
you are. Sorry.
About
you
the teeter-totter and like, yeah, it's my son, maybe I'll share about this a little bit more. He's in a rehab, and we were in crisis for the last 3 years. While the world was upside down, we were in crisis. And I've really learned that boundaries actually has a lot to do with me feeling like I'm managing everything as well. So boundaries is kind of another concept maybe to bring in a way, but I really just had to focus on, like I said, my energy, what makes me feel resilient. So there was a lot of transformation that happened for me in those years. And I pay a lot more attention now to my inner world. For me, this is all about our inner world, checking in with our, doing the work it might take if we're feeling out of alignment. So it's really going inside for me, and it's very energetic, but it's also about going inwards.
A very, very, very valuable share for our audience. Thank you, Allison. Much, much appreciated. Before we continue on to Jen, I'd like to welcome Pamela Wakefield. She's been in our audience almost right from the very first moments. Hi, Pamela. Good to see you here. Do you have any questions that you would like to have answered by our panelists at this point? Has anything come up for you?
I think I'm still trying to wrap my head around the difference. A bit in my head. Like Allison, my son is also in rehab, and he's been in there for 3 weeks. This is actually the easiest time I've had over the last several years. Like, I didn't know all that was going on. But, it's that intuition that you have, like, something's going on, but you don't know exactly what. So that's why I'm on this call, looking for both harmony and balance. I guess my question is, could you be in harmony and be out of balance, and vice versa? Can you have one without the other?
It's a good question. How about if we kind of pause on Jen for a moment, if that's okay with you, Jen, or maybe just ask Jen if she could answer that question, then take it around to each of our other panelists. So this becomes a really interactive call. Might be the first time this has ever happened. We're going to find out. So Jenn, can you answer that question? Is it possible to be in balance and out of harmony, or in harmony and out of balance at the same time? Was that your question, Pamela?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I believe it is actually possible to be out of balance and still be in harmony. I think we're always in harmony. We're always in our personal rhythm, but we're not always in balance. And because for me, I believe that wherever we're at, we're supposed to be at in this moment, right? And life ebbs and flows and everything, and you dance and you move. And so however you're coming up, however you're acting right now, that's in harmony with your rhythm, with your state of being, with your frequency. I'm going to go a little energy right now, with your vibration right now, and your thought process and your mindset and all that, right? Because that's consistent. And as you start working with that harmony will shift too. But it's all coming from the greater good, that this is who I am in the greater aspect. And then when I think about, oh, okay.
No, that's really, I think you've managed to encapsulate that perfectly. I'd like to take it to Stuart now, because I think that Stuart's take on this might be quite valuable at this moment. Is it possible to be in balance and out of harmony, or in harmony and out of balance? And
Definitely. I think it all starts with acceptance, accepting where we are at this moment. Life may not be balanced, things may be happening, but rather than reacting to them, just accept that they're there. And that allows us to create that harmony, and then better able to make the choices we need to make to deal with whatever is happening. So when we start resisting it and try, oh, I've got to get this back in balance, then we're fighting. We're not actually in harmony with anything. We're just wasting energy fighting different things. So I think that acceptance, this is happening. This, I can't help, I can't change it. I can change how I react to it, but it begins with acceptance.
thank you. That was the answer that we needed for that moment. Absolutely perfect. Thank you, Stuart. Pamela, before we move on to the next two experts, is this beginning to give you some more clarity, a little less confusion?
It is. Yeah.
Great, great. Okay, let's move on to Heidi next.
Thanks. I see it all the time, and I know in my own life where everything looks perfectly balanced and I'm crazy inside. And I also experience where everything's totally out of balance and I feel great inside. So I think it's that shifting, that moment, like both Jenn and Stuart brought up about accepting, understanding where we are, being okay with that. That's what makes those moments for me when I feel out of alignment, by saying, okay, what is it I'm to learn in this moment? What's happening in this moment? How do I always come back to tuning in my body. That's how I know when I'm out of harmony, particularly is through using my body as a tool to do that. So that would be my take on it. I think we fluctuate between all of it, and it's accepting where we are, being our own best friend about it, not judging ourselves. There was a lot I had to learn when my life was perfectly in balance according to the rest of the world, and I was crazy inside. I learned so much in that moment about letting go. Oh, I'm defining me by what I think, my parents wanted to see, or my child wants to see, or society, or my business, or whatever. And I think those are when we are out of balance or out of harmony, when that is happening, that's such a wonderful learning moment. If we can stay out of judgment and look at it, what do I need to learn in this moment?
You've just expanded on what Stuart was saying and what Jenn was saying. So you've just taken it again to the next level. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. And I've got to add from my own self, I've been through many, many, many different stages in my life. Not all of them have been sane. Many of them have been so challenged and crazy. And like Stuart said, you just have to stop right then and there and go, well, this is where I'm at. And what am I going to do about it? And I'm just going to work my way through it till I get to the other side. And that means taking in everything that Heidi said and everything that Jenn said and just kind of using it as it shows up. So wherever you're at, it's going to be where you're at for right now. And tomorrow you're going to be in a different place. Allison, in response to Pamela's question.
Yeah, hi,
please.
Pamela. Yeah, I believe that, just thinking too, that yes, my life can be unbalanced, things can be unbalanced, but I still have the ability to be in harmony if I choose. And I love the acceptance piece, and like, it should look a certain way. That's just wrong to me. So accepting the way that it is looking at the moment. Like when we were in crisis, my life was not balanced, but I had the ability, even in the chaos and the crisis, to be in harmony if I so chose to, and to do the work, and and to get into, I could be in alignment even though my life was unbalanced. There's a great quote that always, and this might help Pamela. We haven't talked about peace, but it's always like, so if we have balance and we have harmony, what's the outcome? To me, a lot of it is about peace. So this quote is, peace is not the absence of crisis or chaos. Peace is the acceptance of all things, including crisis and chaos. So through the acceptance, I can stay in alignment, I can stay in harmony, even if everything's out of whack. So I hope that helps.
Yep. Pamela, you are smiling. You're smiling. This is amazing.
Really good.
Thank you for your question. I think that it was so perfectly on point for what we're talking about. And it's real life. It's not experts talking about potentialities. It's real life. Thank you for bringing your question. We so much appreciate it. Jenn, we're going to come back to you now for your take on the teeter-totter and the charioteers in the arena. What do
So
you think?
It's very interesting. When you started out with the teeter-totter, you're like, so you're on one end and you're waiting for your playmate, and you're like, who's your playmate? And I'm like, interesting, because like me and so many of us, we think our playmate is someone else, and we're expecting someone else to come and play with us, right? But then it's like, then you start talking about the life coming down. I'm like, yes, because it's you're playing against yourself. You're playing against your self and your future self, right? And you're having this dance between where where you are and where you're going and what you want. And so it really becomes, figuring out what, if this is me playing against myself. I'm not playing against anyone else. What do I want?
Yeah.
And figuring out what's important to me. What are my values? And really looking at that. And then as life starts coming down at you, you can start looking at, well, is this really important to me? And then you use the horses saying, well, isn't as important to me as this. This is more my values. This is where I need to go. And being okay with moving the horses to different things that are more important for you and your values, so you can stay aligned and in harmony with who you are, and you're in balance, so to speak, with who you are and what you are, instead of deciding that I need to do this because I'm playing with someone else and they're telling me I should do this, or I'm trying to please someone else, or doing a people pleaser thing, or whatever it is. And so that's what came up for me when you're talking about the teeter-totter. It's like life is a game against yourself. There's no one else is there. It's all you against you.
Exactly. Oh my God, you just totally did that. Wow. I'm so excited. Okay. We're going to go back now. Our last question. We actually ended up with 4 because we included Pamela's question. As a professional in your field, now you get to talk about you as a professional. We've been talking about you as a person. Now we get to talk about you as a professional in your field. When a client brings a problem to you about harmony and balance and how they can word it any way they want, but it still comes down to those 2 pieces. Things aren't working in their life, and your job is to help them figure it out. As a professional, how do you help your client to manage balance and harmony, however they show up, whichever one shows up first? I think we're going to start with Heidi this time.
Sure. Wow. I think a lot of it is when I first work with a client, I have to get into their model of the world. How do they see it? If we're strictly talking about balance, work-life balance and harmony, well, what do they see balance as now? Why do they think they're out of balance? Which that gives me all kinds of clues as to what limiting beliefs may be going on in their heads, the shoulds, like I was using the example when I was younger and in my life looked like it was in perfect balance and I was in chaos inside because I'm living by somebody else's standards. So first I have to understand with them what is making them think is out of balance. And then let's take a look at that and let's have conversations within yourself. It's like when Jenn was saying, we are our own playmate. We live with ourselves 24/7 from conception to our last breath in this body. And, we can go beyond that if we want. But the key is I have to be my own best friend here so that I can do like what Stuart said of accepting where I am. And looking at this and not judging myself or understanding that the voices that are coming up in my head that are saying things aren't working well, those voices were generally created as coping mechanisms when we were younger. So let's talk to them. Why are you coming up and judging me? Why are you trying to keep me safe? What has you scared? What has you worried that something's not going right? And we have to look at all those things so that you can become your own best friend because you have to live. And then you have the ability to define, this is what balance looks like. This is what harmony looks like. And this is how I want to shift and move. And a lot of most of the people that I work with have had severe trauma in their life and severe abuse. So much of the cycles that they do, I'm speaking at a conference the end of March called Breaking the Cycles. We can track, so you feel you're out of balance now. What did you look like 7 years ago? What was it 7 years prior to that? Because you'll find these cycles in our lives that follow a 7 to 9 year pattern. And then within them, they might be other ones. That's how I figured out I was totally addicted to chaos. I was
I love that.
Chaos. Life would be good. I'd have to blow it up.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that picture? I'm striving for this balanced life with lots of harmony. And as soon as I have it, if I can't find something wrong in my business, I find it wrong in my partner. If I can't find something wrong in him, I find something wrong in me. If I can't, So, but by examining that cycle, I was able to finally see what was going on and then, change it.
There you go.
So much of what we do is unconscious. We have to bring it to consciousness. And, that's where I might use journaling, body practice, neuro-linguistic programming, which is getting into the unconscious. There's all kinds of practices. And again, I with my clients, I like to find what works best within their model of the world.
Brilliant.
Somebody comes to me that really has never been exposed to energy work. If I start doing energy practitioning on them or changing or talking, their mind just got blown and may have helped them a little bit, but it didn't really do a lot of good. So
It's created more trauma.
Exactly. To me, it's getting into their model of the world and helping them figure out what they want their model to be. And
perfect.
Let's get it.
So I love that. So anybody that's listening, and I understand from Sophia that on many other platforms, I think we're connected to, I don't know, many, 5, 6, I don't know how many platforms we're connected to, but there are a lot of people watching this particular panel at the moment, not just Pamela that we can see on the screen. So if anybody has any questions, and if you're able to put questions into the chat, now is the time, because we've got about 10 minutes left. We might be able to stretch it to 20. But Heidi just shared how in her business as a professional therapist, coach, she takes her client into their life model and figures out how they process. And then from there, she helps them create the plan and the exercises and the process that's going to get them moved through their trauma. Have I put that together right?
Yes, you have. I do have to step back, though. I'm not actually a therapist. I was studying to be a therapist, and I found that the 6 years of education I would need versus the practical tools and things that I was learning. So I go under coach rather than therapist.
So do I, for the same reasons. Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Allison, as a professional in your field, when a client brings their misalignment to you, looking for alignment and harmony, what do you do? What's your process? Do you have a process?
Yeah, so I work in the realm of relationships. I'm a relationship alignment coach. That's actually what I call myself. So I work with women online in particular, anywhere along the timeline, whether they're starting something or ending something, or they're in something and they want to make it better. But really, I think it all comes down, the work that I do, if I want to put it in a neat package, is really healing. And again, it's all internal work. So healing the triggers, healing the past, looking at how we respond instead of reacting. Feminine and masculine energy come into play a lot too with my work. But really, it's about healing. It's about, again, just the internal work. Because when we're in alignment and when we're vibrating, at a healthy kind of state, then we take aligned actions. Then the actions that we take, are potentially going to get us to have the results that we want. But it starts inside, and then and then it's outwards after that. So I think it's healing for me.
It's healing. Okay. But it's an inside out healing.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So our audience is beginning to see the different coaches, different therapists have different ways of approaching the same issue. Let's continue to Jenn, and we're going to end with Stuart. Okay. So Jenn, how do you take your clients on that journey between balance and harmony?
So the first thing I do is I help them understand structure, and I'll explain what this means in a minute. So whenever you have the belief that the future is going to be better when I'm in balance, the future will be better when I'm in balance, the future will be better when I'm in harmony. Okay, whenever you believe that, you have this identity that you're not good enough, and then now it's not good enough, and you need to fix yourself to create what you want. And so what happens is you feel broken, you need to fix yourself, and you go about doing that, but your identity starts going, wait a minute, if I have this thing, I've never had it before, is it safe to have this? I don't know. What happens to me? I die. And so it freaks out, and you end up doing something to sabotage yourself, right? Which reaffirms that you're broken and you need to fix yourself. And so around and around and around that we go. But we're all born into this structure. I call it the problem-oriented structure. We're all born into it, right? And then I explain to them that structure has integrity. So when you're in that structure, that's what's going to happen. So there's a different way of orientating, right? So you can orientate by understanding that you can create just because you want to create, not because you want to fix something, not because you want to heal something. You can just say, I want to create this, I want this because I want it. And so there's 5 steps to consciously create and 5 steps in the creative structure. So the first step is that focus. I focus on this because I want it, no other reason. Then you step into it and you allow your body, you allow your unconscious, you allow yourself to really, what would it be like if I had this? And that way reprogram your mind, reprogramming your body so that when you actually get it, it's no longer like, what's going to happen to me? You understand that, oh, it's safe. This is a familiar feeling. Then you look at your current reality and you say, okay, so why am I here instead of here? What's keeping me? And then we look at the resistance, and that's all the beautiful stuff, that the beliefs and the habits and the patterns and the emotions and the traumas and everything else, it's keeping us from taking actions and keeping us from being in alignment, right? And you understand that those things aren't you. Those things are things that we've learned. They've been inherited from 7 generations back. And so when you understand this structure's integrity, you're able to use whatever technique you need to shift those, to remove them, to whatever, then you can start taking the aligned action. So instead of being stuck in this never-ending cycle, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, it's a consistent forward movement. As you come up with these beliefs, these things, say, oh, this doesn't feel good. Okay, it's not me. Let's figure out how to move it out of the way. so I can start taking action again, and you can continually move forward. And so that's my main thing, is to help people understand, what structure are you coming in? Structure has integrity. And so where's your focus? And help them refocus. Yes, you want to be in balance, but what do you really want? What would that give you? If you were in balance, maybe you want, I would finally feel free. Okay, so if you were free, what would that give you? I would be able to live a life that I love.
Yeah.
That's what you really want.
So really,
so
that's the harmony. That's the harmony part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your process is brilliant. Your process works. It's simple, it's easy, it's definable, and it's something that it's relatable.
Yes.
So each one of our experts so far has explained the model that they work with. We're just waiting now for Stuart. And each model is slightly different, but it still comes back to being client focused, which is, of course, what it should be. Stuart, what is your structure? How do you begin to work with and take clients through finding balance and harmony, if that's where they're stuck?
Well, first I'd like to just say that we've all got our own approaches, but there's so much overlap. And as you say, it's about working with the client and meeting them where they are at this moment in time. What is it that they think or are experiencing, which is causing the challenges they've got in their lives at the moment? Is it balance? Is it harmony? Is it important to use these labels? Or should we just say, okay, what are you experiencing? Where are you? What is not working? And what then? Be careful not to let them dwell on that, because they've been practicing that habit for possibly their lifetime, focused on what's not working. What is it they want instead? What would they, what is it they're looking for? And by doing that, we can start helping them to start creating a more positive future and getting out of this cycle of negativity that people get locked into. It's like a prison we've been put inside, and we just cycle it round and round and round. And even if the walls of the doors have been opened, they don't see it. They can't get past it. Just like the flies on the jar experiment, when they had the flies and they had the lid on, and the flies got used to that world, that little comfort zone, and then we took the lid off, and they don't go out, because this is how they become accustomed to living. So, the other thing that I found with a couple of clients is they're focused on why. Why am I experiencing this? Why am I like this? And their energy is going into the why. And I asked them, is that really important? What would happen? How would your life change if you knew why? And once they see that, they stop, and they're able to break that cycle for that moment. And then we can build on that and work with the possibilities. And I use a lot of hypnosis and sometimes NLP, but I like to take them into a future life hypnotically, so they can then live this new life that they've wanted and start experiencing it. I mean, for instance, what time do they get up? What's the first thing they do? They're getting dressed. What color shoes they're putting on? What type of things like that. So they're actually living this life, and they can see that it's real. And then we can work and see how they can achieve it and grow it. And if it is the life they really want at the end of the day, because a lot of people have these dreams, which are not what they really want. But we've got to find that out. We can't do that without the conversations.
And
So
you find it, and you find it that the hypnosis gives them that space to explore, a safe space to explore.
It does, and it's also a beautiful tool to help people get past blockages, because they don't always have to go back and re-experience it. They can give a symbol. It could be a color, it could be something, and we can work together, knowing that this symbol we're talking about isn't the real problem, but we're talking about it as if it is. But the unconscious mind of the person knows that and makes that connection, is able to deal with whatever the challenge was and put it away. And quite often it is lack of self-worth. It is abuse or trauma from the past and things like that, but you don't need to re-experience them.
Well, actually,
they've been locked away for a reason.
That's what a lot of the new trauma information, the new trauma science is coming out, is they're saying that sometimes when people go back into the original trauma to explain it through therapy or through psychology or through psychiatry, it actually re-traumatizes them slightly differently.
Yeah,
so it's trauma after.
Because you're putting energy back where it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. So I mean,
and
everything.
that's the challenge.
Yeah. So I think your work is very valuable, Stuart. I think that you bring a whole different, like I said at the beginning, you're bringing a whole different layer to the way that we're looking at balance and harmony. And as you also said, it is it's a label. It's how we live each piece of that. But we still have to have ways of identifying things.
Of course, but we have to understand how the other people are identifying, not
Yeah.
use our imposed identification. And I think what's important is we have to understand that people are people. We're all individuals, and we resonate with this particular approach, or that particular approach, or that particular personality. And that's the key. So it's important for us as therapists, as helpers, as healers, to know others. So we say, okay, I'm not the right person for you, but this person, Heidi is, or Jen is, or Allison is, because we need to be able to match people up so they can get the best help that's suited for them as an individual.
That's a very generous attitude. Thank you for bringing that into the conversation as well, Stuart. That's something we also haven't talked about, is how we refer to our other co-professionals for particular clients. So that's a thought that
it is about the client, isn't it? It's about
it's all about the client. Yeah. Wow. I cannot believe we are at 1 hour already. Unbelievable. I see that Sophia is now online with us. She's brought her beautiful face to join us. And she has a few things that she would like to say to our audience as well.
Thank you, Sue. It's been a real wonder to share, to listen to all this. And I think I'm going to let you say it, because we've got gardeners here.
You've got lots of noise there.
Maybe everyone can go around and share their gifts as well.
Yes, I can do that. If you like, I'll introduce that part. So this is the point in our conversation where we go around to each one of our experts. We ask you to tell us, well, first of all, do you have any special offers that you would like to make the audience? Is there any special gifts you'd like to give them so they have a way of contacting you? And if you haven't put your information, your contact information into the chat, you can do that now. I know that Stuart did at the very top of the chat. All of his information is listed, how you can reach him on his website, because he is in China. It's a little bit more complicated as far as using the usual connections, but you can reach him through his particular links. So we're going to start with, let's start with Stuart, since he was our last one. Stuart, first of all, tell people how they can reach you, and whether or not there is something special you would like to leave them with, a gift of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest gift I can leave people with is the understanding that they can accept and accept they are enough. They are enough. That's a very, very important thing, because a lot of people don't think they're enough. They're not good enough for this, they're not good enough for this, but it's not true. They are enough. So that is very important. The best ways to contact me are basically on LinkedIn or at my email, which I'll put into the chat, which is stuart@spg.pz. I'll put that into the chat in a minute. But at the moment, I've got what I call a Discover Your Dreams call. And I find that a lot of people want something different or better than they've got now, but they've got no idea what it is. So I'll give them a 1 hour session where we can get down to that. We can unearth what blockages, and we can create a roadmap for them to get to where they want to get. And then they are empowered to see a future which is so much better than the future they're experiencing at this moment. So that's what I would love to give them.
So the discovery call, is where you would like to direct them.
Yeah, and I'll put my email in case anybody wants to reach out to me by email as well. I'll do that.
Absolutely. So go and do that now. So it'll be at the bottom and the top of our chat. So if anybody's interested in contacting Stuart, the best way to reach him is either via his email or via the link that he's going to provide you on his website. And could you just tell us what your website is called, Stuart?
At the moment, I'm just working on, it should be going live in about a day, Stuart-Elliott with 2 L's, 2 T's.com. I've got another website, strategicpersonalgrowth.com. You can find it through spg.pz. That's my company, but the other one is more personalized to me, so people can understand who I am as a person rather than everything else. So that will be going live. I'll put that in, but it's not working at this moment.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So tell them to be persistent, keep trying.
Yeah.
Okay. Allison, what special offer would you like to make available to all of our audience that's watching, listening live, or our replay audience who will be seeing this in the future whenever they find it? How would you like them to contact you, and what special gift do you have for them?
Thank you. So my contact I've just put in there. I put my email in, which is coachallison@rogers.com. I put my Facebook group in for women if they want to join my community online. And I didn't talk about, I've actually introduced frequency healing with my Healy into my coaching practice. So I'm offering a lot of different frequency sessions, which can actually bring us back into balance. So I would love to offer everyone a free complimentary chakra mini session where I will actually scan their chakras, see what's out of alignment, and then we'll send frequencies for about 10 minutes to balance their chakras. So that's what I wanted to offer. So they can just email me for that if they're interested.
Please just make sure that you put your tell us your email now, just in case people can't see it in the chat.
Oh, coachallison@rogers.com. And
Perfect.
Allison is Allison.
coachallison@rogers.com. Fantastic. Thank you. Heidi, special gifts, how can people reach you?
And thank you so much, Sue, for doing this. I always love being on panels with you. It's so much fun. And Pamela, thank you for your question, and all the other coaches. I just, I agree with Stuart so much on, we need to have a tool bag of other coaches and therapists that we can send people so that they get their best. And y'all are now written in my tool bag. So thank you so much. For me, if somebody wants to reach me, the easiest way is, my website is HeidiHenyon.com, and you can set up a call or send an email, however you'd like to do that. And if you do want to directly email, it's info@HeidiHenyon.com. I have, and up there I have available a free either PDF or Mobi download of one of my first 3 books. And then also to set up a half-hour call so that we can just get to know each other and see what you may need or desire. So that's me.
Fantastic. Thank you. Jenn, how can people reach you, and what's your special gift for them today?
Best place to reach me is through Sacred You. I am a host and a tribe leader of Conscious Law of Attraction Tribe. And so we meet there every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific. I believe that's 3 p.m. Australian time, every Tuesday, Wednesday. And also you can go on there. I have a list of my other services, and I give away a free introductory webinar every week. And so I really go deep into the concept of structure and how to step into it. And then I take you through the 5 steps, and I help you feel what it feels like to get aligned in the 5 steps and learn how to focus on what you want to create and clear out some of those blockages, so you're able to start taking the aligned action. So it's really awesome. I would love to have you guys there. That webinar is every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Again, the best place is through Sacred You. All my information is there, but I would love for you guys to join my tribe. Really quickly, we do a bunch of stuff. We talk about unconscious mind, neuro-linguistic programming, neuroscience, epigenetics, meditation, focus, all kinds of different things, helping you to really create a life that you love and to step into it and be it now, because you're not broken. You can be anything and everything you are, and so create anything and everything you want. Success is not personal, it's structural. And I just love sharing that with people. So hope to see you guys.
That was beautiful, and it was quick. Amazing. Make sure that your information is in the chat before we close off. Heidi, I don't remember if you have a tribe in Sacred You.
I do not yet. I am looking forward to figuring out exactly what I want to do there, because I love to do so many things.
Okay. I'm sure that Sophia will be talking to you about that. So thank you. I'm Sue Rumack. I am an empath trainer. I've been a life coach for 15 years, going on 16 years. And my specialty is working with traumatized, overwhelmed HSPs and empaths. I help them to work on the somatics, the brain science, the vibrational frequencies, the epigenetics, all the pieces that come into connecting you to other people so that you're able to read them, protect yourself, ground yourself, and shield from the energies that you don't want to take into your body from them. So you learn the conversation, the energetic conversation that gives you that control and that power. On my website, it's courageouspath.com. It's courageouspath.com. And right at on the very first page is a little blue thing that's on a pretty picture of a woman by the sea. And it says, get my free discovery call now. So it's a life blueprint that I set up for you. We talk for 60 to 90 minutes, free of charge. And in that time, we kind of take a look at where you're at, where you want to be, what's holding you back, and we set up next steps. Again, it's all complimentary. You receive an MP3 recording of it and a highlights email with all your next steps laid out. It's quite a lovely, long, involved blueprint. And then you decide what you want to do with it after that. So courageouspath.com is my website. You can email me directly at support@courageouspath.com. I'm also in Sacred U. I am a tribal leader. My tribe is Life Force Activators, and we will have a new relaunch on February the 14th, Valentine's Day. So there will be information about that coming out. I hope you'll find me. I hope you'll look for me. And in Life Force Activators, it's a fun place to be. We're going to be telling stories a lot like our teeter-totter story, and we're going to be finding the meaning that's in the stories without making it teachy or preachy or anything else. It'll just be fun. It'll be me, being me, doing me, talking to you. So that's basically it for me. Sophia, is there anything that you need to say that I have not said?
Thank you. Thank you to such a wonderful panel discussion for you to facilitate. Thank you for all our beautiful panelists. Thank you for Pamela to join us, who's joined us here in the audience, and also for everyone, to Allison, Cotton, and for Tanya, and for everyone else who's been listening in on the live. Really, really appreciated. Coming up next week, we have Room to Breathe, and Sue will be back as a panelist for trauma response. Why do we freeze, flight, fight, or fawn? Really looking forward to that one. Those are our two next week. Do click on the links below and come and join us. Come and join Sue's tribe, Life Force Activators. Come and join Jenn's tribe, the Conscious Law of Attraction, and also all our other 20-something tribes. And one day we'll have 21-something when Heidi decides. One day, no rush. But come and join us just for $1. You get to try it out for 3 weeks. You get to try everything out just for 3 weeks. Have a play. All our different tribes. And then after that, it's just 15 Australian dollars a month to continue and empower yourself and connect. Our biggest thing is connecting, which we've done here. So again, thank you, Sue, for connecting and bringing together all these beautiful people and holding space for all these beautiful people. Amazing.
My pleasure. I enjoyed it so much.
Yes. And Stuart brought a guest as well. Hello, and how are you?
Oh, your daughter is just stunning, gorgeous.
Yes.
Hello.
All right, and we will say
She can't hear you
goodbye.
because I got here to have. Say hello to everyone.
All right, for everyone out there who's watching